Rahul Khanna is in my chair, and I have to tell you one thing, darling.
Yeah.
I have got the major hots for you, and I totally want the whole world to know this.
Fantastic.
I'm telling you, when you first came out in Earth, Deepa Mehta's movie, all that time ago, I thought, oh my God, this guy is just way too hot.
Oh my
way
God.
too hot. So I have to go on camera. This is the first time in 12 years that I've been interviewing people from around the world that I've ever actually said something like this on camera. So I want to know, by putting you on the spot, are you nervous?
You're totally nervous. I'm very excited, but thank you so much. That's so sweet of you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you come from Bollywood royalty, of course, and the interesting thing, as you know, Vinod Khanna-san and everything, we all know this about you. But you know, oftentimes people look at second generation Bollywood, and you know, they know that it's kind of cookie cutter. They're going to continue forth into the Bollywood realm because that's kind of the world they're from.
Yep.
You didn't do that, which is why I find your story really, really interesting, because you're not quote unquote a Hollywood actor or a Bollywood actor. You're an international actor.
Right.
You have an extensive portfolio of work on both sides of the Atlantic, which kind of puts you in a unique place. Was this something that kind of organically happened for you, or was it something that you planned? Was this a strategic move for you?
It was definitely not strategic. It was something that just developed because my story is quite strange because, as you said, my father was an actor in Bollywood, and everyone
iconic actor.
He was a very iconic in his time, and he. And so everyone expected me and my brother to sort of follow in his footsteps and be very entrenched in that culture. But the fact was, we actually didn't grow up with my dad, so we didn't have,
of course,
we didn't have access to that world. So, and that wasn't really, people didn't know that.
Yes.
So when both me and my brother, decided to be actors, he took a very different route, and I just sort of followed what I was interested in. So I went to New York and I studied acting. And then I got a job on television, which I worked for MTV in New York, and then I was moved to MTV in Singapore, so I spent many years in Singapore with MTV Asia.
Yes.
So I was all over the place, and then my first film was with a Canadian director. It was a film called Earth with Deepa Mehta.
Absolutely.
But it was still filmed in India, and it was in Hindi, so people were just very confused as to who I was. They're like, who are you? Where do you belong? And I didn't have an answer for that either, because I kind of felt I belonged nowhere, but I belonged everywhere at the same time.
Absolutely.
So and it was getting frustrating, especially in social situations when I'd go to a party and people would say, oh, so what do you do? And I'd be like, I'm an actor. So they're like, oh, you're Indian, so you must be a Bollywood actor. So I'm like, yeah, kind of. And then they were like, oh, you must do 10 films a year. And I was like, no, I kind of don't. So then I coined this term, and people would ask me, I'd say I'm a boutique Bollywood actor.
Ooh,
because
I love that.
And then everyone would laugh and they would kind of get it.
It kind of puts you, it kind of doesn't put you anywhere, and it gives you the freedom and the liberation to do what you want and take on the kind of projects you want to.
Exactly.
And you've done that.
Yeah, and I think that's the joy of being in this profession, is that you should get to do as many different things as possible and work with as many different people in as many different countries and languages. So for me, that's exciting.
Absolutely. Why choose Earth? What was it about that particular role? I mean, it's a very iconic independent movie today. Obviously, it's one of those movies that will always be in the Hall of Fame where critical movies are concerned. Right. But you chose this as your debut. Take me back there.
Well, listen, as someone who's starting out in the industry, you don't really have that many choices. It's not like I had hundreds of people lining up and saying, Rahul, please choose me. This project came to me, and I had watched the director's previous film, which I really liked, and there's something about there's something about the sensibility that really appealed to me. And when I read the script, it was beautiful. You know, it's a period piece. It's set in 1947. It was romantic and passionate and brutal and violent all at the same time. And I mean, it was like a dream come true. Like, which actor could ask for anything better as their first film? For
an actor, it's really great to be able to do a debut in a critically acclaimed movie, as opposed to a commercial movie. Because commercial, you can do. Right? That's always a part of the formula. But when you do it the other way around, and you go from, doing formula movies and trying to do the critical stuff, it's a lot more difficult to accomplish that as an actor where the public is concerned, because they've already pegged you.
Right.
But when you do it the other way around,
Right.
it's kind of like you've already set the precedent and told the public, oh, I'm going to do things differently.
Yeah.
So just keep watching watching what I do with my life, right?
Right.
And you did that also in terms of Hollywood, right? You've done a number of things. You were in that great movie with Kevin Kline. You made an appearance there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How was that experience for you?
Again, another dream come true, because how often does, can someone say, oh, I just filmed a movie with Kevin Kline. I just spent 2 weeks hanging out with Kevin Kline filming a movie and getting paid for it. Yes. So it was, fantastic. And again, it's exposure. It's working in an environment that's so different from what you're used to.
Yes.
Working on a script that's so different, and working with people who are, Kevin Kline and the director Michael Hoffman, who's an amazing director.
It doesn't get better than that, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a gift. Yeah.
Well, you're currently in The Americans, which is doing tremendous things on the TV circuit right now, syndicated and all of that. And talk to me about that role. Was that something that you went and auditioned the normal way? Was it something that somebody said that, hey, you should do this, or did they come to you? How did that all kind of pan out for you?
It was a sort of combination of all of them. Strangely enough, my brother Akshay had been telling me about the show The Americans for a few months. And he's like, you have to watch the show, it's a great show. So I just started watching it, and my manager called me to say, listen, the show called The Americans is looking for someone like you. I mean, they're very interested in you. Would you be interested in meeting with them and seeing if you'd be interested in doing this role? So I said, send me the script. I read the script. It was great. The character was great fun. He's a Pakistani spy, but he's not a traditional Pakistani guy. He's a kind of suave and Oxford educated, and a bit of a womanizer. So I was like, this sounds very exciting.
Nothing like you, right?
Nothing like me. Yeah, I'm not educated at all. So I went through the process. I met with them, and we did a couple of readings. And it just kind of all fell into place. And initially it was just supposed to be one episode in the second season. But
yes, I remember that.
Then they brought me back for the third season. So I have a few episodes in the third season, and my character's still alive, so hopefully he'll be back in the fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, you've done Bollywood formula, you've done the independent route as well, and you've also had a tap into Hollywood TV and film, right? How have all of these experiences been in terms of, you learning your craft further as an actor? Because every experience kind of brings its own kind of skill set and mindset that you need to be in as an actor, because you're definitely a very eclectic actor, right? Because you can't do all of what you've done and do it as well as you've done it if, you're not learning something along the way with all these different genres of filmmaking.
Right.
So talk to me about what it is that you feel potentially is probably the difference between these different areas. So you've got Bollywood, you've got Hollywood, you've got film, you've got TV, you've got independent, you've got commercial, and you've done it all. Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite quotes is by Bruce Lee, where he says, be like water, and sort of just go with the flow.
Yes.
Be don't be rigid. And I find people who work in any one sort of mindset and framework tend to be very rigid in the way they work.
Yes.
We can only do things this way, and this is the way we do it. And the minute you put them in a different situation, they can't handle it. But I think working all these different industries, like you mentioned, just you kind of learn. You just have to go with the flow. You have to be adaptable. You have to be respectful to everyone. You have to. And also, I really enjoy working on new things and with new people. So if you tell me, oh, we're doing something in a completely different way, and it's not going to be like anything you've ever done before, that excites me. I don't want to feel like, oh, okay, I'm doing the same thing over again.
Now I'm doing 14 more projects that are exactly the same, right?
So that's what I like. But at the same time, also all the different, film, TV, independent film, and commercial cinema, the lines have kind of blurred now, because everything is being made in the same way.
Yes.
Things are not being shot on film anymore, so it's all digital. So the budgets are much more flexible.
Yes.
So things, like you go into it, like when I'm working on The Americans, it feels like I'm working on a big budget Hollywood film, because everything's the same.
Yeah.
The simple things like the catering is the same, the production value, the crew, it's all, on the technical area, it's all the same.
So your experience there then, you don't feel like you have to relearn the formula?
You don't have to relearn the formula, but you have to adapt to because it's a whole different crew, it's a whole different set of directors and producers, so there is some adaptability.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not like working on a film and then working in theatre.
Right.
Which is completely different.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. You just mentioned theatre.
Yeah.
What about that?
I love that. I was really like, I've done one show in New York. I did a run of a play called East is East.
Yes, that was a number of years ago.
But again, that was an incredible experience. Great show, tough work. 8 shows a week for I think it ran for 11 weeks or something.
But that really puts you on the map in terms of your own feeling about, I really am an actor. A lot of actors say that to me. They say, film, TV, you get to kind of, cut it like 100 different ways.
Exactly.
And if you screw up, it doesn't really matter because you get to do it again. You don't get that. You
No,
get one take and it's like 2 hours long.
Exactly. I remember on film, anything, if I'm doing a take with you and I feel an itch in my nose.
Yes.
I can tell the director, sorry, listen, I had an itch in my nose, I was distracted, may I please do that again?
Yeah.
When you're doing theatre, I remember when in this play I was doing, there was a scene in a fish and chip shop where I was chopping chips and I slashed my fingers with this chipper. And I had to continue the scene, bleeding like there was blood all over the floor. The other actors were slipping on my blood.
Oh my
But you couldn't stop because you're in the middle of a show and there's, there's 300 people in the audience watching you.
Would you do more theatre?
I would definitely do it if it was of the same sort of caliber that I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about Bollywood, right? You've done a number of movies in Bollywood. How do you pick the ones that you want to do? Why do you pick them? Is it role-based? Or is it more the opportunity to work with certain artists and production companies?
See, again, as an actor, you're very much at the mercy of what's offered to you.
Yes.
So what I picked from what came to me, I picked those. It could have been a number of things. I could have liked the script.
Yes.
I could have liked the character. I could have thought the script and character were terrible, but I really liked the crew and the director and the producer. So a variety of reasons, but at the end of the day, I think it's the people. So if you connect with the people who are making the project, even if it's perhaps not the best project in the world, it's still worth doing because, that's what we're in it for.
There's more to it. Yeah,
to have fun, to connect with people.
Absolutely. And you're all about that, aren't you?
Completely.
Yeah.
And the more I work, the more I realize it's so important that you like the people you're working with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what else are you doing? What do you have planned for 2015 for yourself?
I have at the moment no plans because I've just finished with The Americans.
Yes.
I'm reading a couple of movie scripts which may or may not happen.
Okay.
And that's it really. So it's just been, I've just been sort of in that space with the Americans, and now that I've finished, I can sort of start looking at other things.
And regroup and everything. You know what? One thing I've noticed interviewing you, which I find really, really, genuine and appealing, is that there just doesn't seem to be any kind of ego associated with you.
Okay.
In terms of just I don't really know what I'm going to do next. I'll see, and it kind of depends on what people offer me. I mean, I love that about you, and I think that's probably why the whole water analogy kind of makes sense with you in terms of who you are as a person as well, right? Talk to me a little bit about you on a personal level. I mean, what kind of interests do you have outside of the world of acting?
I like cage fighting, hard drugs.
My kind of guy.
Yeah, Satanism. No, what do I like? I'm a very outdoor person, so I really like being. I go hiking and water skiing and anything to do with the outdoors. If you put me on a beach for a week and I'm the happiest person on the world.
I googled you under images. I'm telling you, about 50% of the images of Rahul Khanna that came up were you on some sort of a beach somewhere. I got that about your personality.
Yeah, I'm a big beach person.
So what about significant others, mister? I have to ask you that question.
Yeah, sure. No.
Do you have many?
No, no.
Yeah?
I don't,
Oh, so I have a leg in then.
Yeah, with those legs, yeah.
Oh gosh, you're such a sweetheart. But thank you so much for coming and chatting with me.
My pleasure, thank you. You're doing such great work, so I'm excited to be a part of it.
I'm excited for you to be a part of it. Thank you, my darling.
Thanks, Raj.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.